Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you'll know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get it rolling. The Shout Out Show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everyone, I'm Preacher Moss, the host of the Shout Out Show, the SOS. I want to welcome everybody on this beautiful Sunday. I don't know where you are, but I always thought it's beautiful, whether it rains, snowed, sleet, whatever. It was just a blessed day. Normally we have our potluck Sunday, but today we're not going to do potluck Sunday. Today I want to take some time to drill down on some of the things that I'm seeing out in society, and I just have to call them out. I've probably called them out before, but not so much in a direct way, but trying to make the connections, because now I just kind of feel like it's really, really becoming life or death. When I say life or death, I don't use those terms lightly. When I say life or death, I mean that people's policies, people's actions, people's words are beginning to have serious, serious implications for how we live. When I say how we live, I don't mean in a singular way. I mean how I live, my neighbors live, my parents live, my family lives, my neighbor lives. It is a very important aspect of what's going on now. And I'm bringing it up because I watched two political conventions. I watched a Democratic convention, partially, and I watched the GOP convention, partially. And people go, why do you say partially, Preach? Because a lot of times, I don't like to engage or lend myself or my energy to people that I know who are traditionally weak. Because they're on a stage, because they have thousands of people in front of them, does not make them particularly strong to me. And if you're in my business, entertainment business, the entertainment business is brutal in a way that it will define who is wrong or not wrong, but who's strong and who's weak. You know, who can be compromised, who can be malleable, who can be totally flipped, turned inside out. I had to use the term turned out. That's a pimp term, but it is applicable to these days. So today's show is about calling out cowards. Now, I'm sure you got your own list of cowards. I got a list of cowards too, but I'm also going to give a breakdown of cowards, if you will. I will try to inject some aspect from Quran and Sunnah, but I have to talk about cowards because the world has become increasingly populated with cowards. Thus, we have cowardly acts. You see what I'm saying? Cowards leading to more and more cowardly acts. Now, before I get on the roll here, I do want to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters that are tuning in for the first time. We hope that you enjoy your experience here on the Shout Out Show, and in turn, you'll come back and you bring some of your friends. And before you even get a chance to do that, make sure you click the subscribe button and the link button, okay? That's one thing. To all my SOS family, my SOS soldiers, thank you for coming out, because you didn't have to be here. Sundays is such a hard day to do any kind of broadcast. You hear what I'm saying? It's such a difficult day to do any kind of broadcast, but I'm blessed because I might have anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 people. That's what it says on my screen. It's usually more, but that's not the point. It's the point that people tune in. So I want to start by framing a coward versus a cowardly act. Let me frame a coward versus a cowardly act. A coward is a person who understands good, understands fairness, understands compassion and mercy, but refuse to see them in other people except themselves. That's number one. Number two is the coward who doesn't see it in others, only seeing it. That's fine. But the coward is the one who works diligently to make sure that those people don't see it in themselves. And if they see it in themselves, they take it away. The cowards are not traditionally strong people. Cowards count on weak people who are weak-minded and are prone to emotion. That's the scope of coward, I want to say coward composition, if you will. When we speak about cowards, brothers and sisters, I'm not talking about the person who, snivels in the corner and no, that person might just have a nervous disorder. I'm talking about the people who are strategic, the people who look for a competitive advantage, knowing that if it were a fair fight, they would not last. The coward is the one that usually sends people into a fight. The worst fight you're ever going to be involved in is the one where the person you have the problem with is not fighting. You're fighting someone who's associated with the person that you had a problem with. Therefore, any interaction there is a false conundrum because you're not dealing with the person that you're dealing with. Now I'm talking, this could be a verbal fight, this is going to be a physical fight, but the scope of a coward is they fear everything that has to do with fairness. Let me say that again. They fear everything that has to do with fairness. Now, what does that mean, Preach? It means you have to think back to Trayvon Martin. That was a situation, stand your ground, where you gave precedent, if you will, in place, an agency for the coward to visibly say or physically say, I reacted in such a way because I was scared. This is the first time in legal precedent in the United States. We're not talking about self-defense laws. We're talking about stand your ground. That a person can be scared and come around you legally. They can harm you legally. So there's a danger to the coward, brothers and sisters. I'm not just putting this out there because it's easy to just talk about, let's just get in some fights. It's not a fight issue now. The legalization of cowardice started in 2012, where you took people who were traditionally scared to do their dirt and skullduggery in public, and you gave them something called stand your ground. In Michigan, with Michael Brown when he was shot, in Ferguson, not Michigan, Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, what did the cop say? I felt threatened. This is the first time we've ever heard this before. I felt threatened. Now, it's not that the cop felt threatened, brothers and sisters. It's that he said he felt threatened after he killed this man. He said he felt threatened when there was a possibility that he was going to lose his job or possibly be prosecuted. His savior is he lived in an environment of more and more cowards. He knew, brothers and sisters, he knew that he was covered because his cowardice had a badge in front of it. His cowardice had immunity attached to it. And he knew that in the police, and I'm not saying all police are bad, but in the police department, cowardice is embraced. Cowardice is embraced, meaning that you can do what you can do on behalf of the people who employ you, on behalf of the people that have crafted this environment, so you can go out and do what you want to do on our behalf. Now, I don't want to make it anything crazy here, because I said something on video earlier about cowards. If you're soft, if you're moist, don't watch the show. And I meant that, don't watch the show. Because the Shout Out show is a show for men. And the Shout Out show is a show for women too. Strong women, strong men, strong-minded children. Because the coward is a virus. Woo! Can I say that again? The coward is a virus. More so than anything you see out here with coronavirus and COVID-19, the coward virus is real. It's real and it's growing because you have people now who are stepping out of themselves, who are doing things they would normally not do because they have the coward virus. They're not being emboldened, brothers and sisters. Let me say this again. They're not being emboldened. They're not being encouraged. They are stepping out of the coward space and saying that I still have the protection of being a coward because I feel threatened. We had Sister Rakia on here last Sunday, and I meant to ask her this, but I remember when the KKK wanted to demonstrate in her hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. They wanted to demonstrate. And I thought to myself, what is wrong with this? What was wrong with it was these demonstrators came all the way from some rural place where they had no black people, all the way into Cincinnati to incite these people. And the reason why they felt they could incite these people, but they needed police. Now, hear me now. They needed the police because if you're real gangsters, if you're real G's, KKK, if you're real G's, real gangsters, and you about it in the words of Master P, why do you need the police and why do you need a permit? Show up in downtown inner city Cincinnati and do your thing. That's what men do. But no, gotta announce it, gotta get a permit, you gotta let people know we're coming, and also had to let people know protect us. Cowards, cowards, cowards. Let me give a shout to my mom. Let me see. Cowards trying to make you feel wrong, they're right. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Ma, in a minute. Because that's the second kind of coward. That's the one that whispers in your ear. That's the one that wants to move you to actions that they wouldn't do. Whenever you do something stupid when you're a kid, following someone, what'd your mama say? If he told you to jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? If so-and-so told you to jump in front of a train, would you jump in front of a train? Of course. These are rhetorical questions. But you had to say no, else your mom smack you upside the head. But there are people that will do it. There are people who continue to do it. And I'm talking about folks who are somehow deranged or emotionally unstable. I'm talking about rational people. I'm talking about rational people who make these decisions, but they make these decisions in secret. Sister Rabina, assalamu alaikum barakatuh. She says, cowards protect cowards. Yes. If there was a union, like a coward union, local 303, I believe they could start it in the White House. I believe they could collect dues. And by the time they collect dues from all those cowards and apply that money to something meaningful, I believe that the deficit might be gone. That's how strong I feel about cowards, brothers and sisters. The other thing about cowards, and I want to take my time to say this, it's not the deception of cowards that worries me. It has now become the transparency of cowards that worries me. They are transparent now. When a coward becomes empowered, if you will, a coward will say things knowing that the people who are surrounding him, to Sister Rabina's point, are somewhat weakened mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Let me throw this out here. A lot of people talked about Russian interference in the last election. Okay, I don't doubt that. Okay, they talked about Russian interference in the last election. Here's the thing I think we might have overlooked. And this is a theory, pure theory. This is coward theory. Okay, coward theory. My theory is when Donald Trump decided to get his cabinet together, hear me now, the Russians helped him pick strategically weak people. Strategically weak and flawed people. People who were interchangeable or easily compromised. Think about it. Campaign manager, weak. Flynn, weak. Cohen, weak. Look at all the weak people around this man. Anybody strong got shipped out. Attorney General Barr, double weak. Like double chin, double weak. And I'm saying this because strategically now, all of the people that you're looking at are cowardice in action, cowardice in deed. Cowardice in action, cowardice in deed. Let me give a shout out to Sister Eleanor. What's going on, sis? Glad you can make it. Appreciate you. I hope you got the email. I need to get your right email. Sorry, people. You know you got to talk to family sometimes. But I'm trying to break this down a little bit. Because cowards have changed. The nature of cowards has changed. I was telling my mother earlier today. I remember when I was in college. Let's be honest. I was 17 years old. I had a big mouth. I thought I was the highest thing since sliced bread. I wasn't a bully, though. I wasn't a bully. I wasn't a gangbanger. I wasn't a street brawler. But I wasn't no punk. See how I broke that down? All those things, but I wasn't a punk. And just so you know, all cowards are punks. Now, let me go back to what I was saying. I was telling my mother that I was coming home one night from a little date I had. I went Muslim then, so relax. Come home from a little date I had, a little lady I had. I kind of dropped her off. And I ran into somebody who I don't get along with, and he was very inebriated. I was too young to drink back then, but he's very inebriated, and he felt like he's going to express to me everything he feels about me. And I'm like, do your thing, brother. I got to roll. And it became, no, he's going to express his thing. Now, the alcohol got him all feeling brave. But here was the interesting thing. Every time he would talk to me, he looked to his right and his left. He'd say something, he looked to his right and his left. He'd say something, he looked at me in his right and his left. That's a nervous habit when you look over your right shoulder, left shoulder. And what I realized was the things he was saying to get them fired up, right and left. Because alone, he couldn't take me, right and left. And what I realized was he was getting these guys hyped up to jump on me. Now, in one of these situations where he looked right and left, I figured, hey, take your shot, preach. And I cracked him pretty good. Then I went after the other guy that I thought was just as weak, and the other two went away. What's my point? My point is not violence. Violence doesn't get you anywhere. My point is we have to be very, very, very careful about who we let around our leadership, who we let around our communities, because these people have no sense of compassion or mercy. The coward virus is so strong that it's killed everyone around them. I realized that in this one fight, the guy looking over his right and his left, yeah, he was trying to get his other guys fired up so it'd be a 4-on-1 fight. But I realized he looked over his right and left because cowards are lonely. He looked to see who's over his right and left to make sure that it was still there while he espoused what he wanted to espouse. And I have to say this. In my own community, my Muslim community, I love Muslims, everybody knows that. But we have to get back to basics in terms of when things ain't right. It's perfectly fine to make a dua for somebody, but it's perfectly fine to beat the brakes off if you have to as well. We have to get back to being men. I'd be the last one to tell you that I wouldn't swing on somebody that tried to harass or harm my family. I'd swing first and make dua second. What he saying? I'm saying that we have a fiduciary responsibility, brothers and sisters, to call out cowards. I can call out cowards all day long. Am I backbiting? No, they know they're cowards. And most of the people I would say on the list are cowards. I start with the president, coward. VP, coward. Family, coward. Secretary of State Pompeo, coward. Rudy Giuliani, coward. Paul Manafort, coward. Will Barr, coward. You know what I'm saying? I can keep going. It's a situation with Democrats too. I'm sorry, Joe Biden, but you show me in a certain situation with Anita Hill, you were a coward too. You didn't protect that lady. So I don't want to be mean-spirited, but I'm tired of cowards hurting people. You see, 2 people got shot in Kenosha, and they didn't make a big hullabaloo about it because it was white-on-white crime. Because Wisconsin has a lot of cowards, particularly in the journalism business. But nobody makes a whole lot of fuss about them because it's white-on-white crime in this situation. And, may Allah protect the families of those 2 people who got killed because they didn't deserve it. But the gunman, coward. coward. The police that let him do what he did, cowards. Let him go home, cowards. And if you really want to go further and further and further, any system set up to oppress people, to deny them justice, to deny them jealousy, to deny them justice, deny them equality, just basic human rights, it's always a coward system. And the worst part about it is the framework, the environment of a coward is totally non-workable for anyone else. If you really want to know about the complexity of slavery, you have to read the old history of Encyclopedia of Negro History, and it talked about how these cowards systematically had to devise and construct schemes to keep people in slavery. Because as these people survived everything, the impossibilities and the miracles that came out of slavery, it made them more, I want to say, mentally and spiritually deficient. It made them suspect everybody was coming to get them. That's a funny thing, like when somebody robs you, you know what they worry about most? Getting robbed. If you go around hurting a lot of people, you know what they worry about? They spend all the time about, remember I told you about the guy I had to fight? He kept doing this? Because they're always looking over their back. They're always looking over their back. And so if you really start to look this up and break it down, I looked at something in the Quran. And there's something in the Bible to say something about that as well. Look, Sister Rabina got some names. That's right. Nepotism, barring a husband, a coward. That's it. Shout it out. You know what's funny though? You never really hear a whole lot about women cowards, but that's a whole other thing. Here's my thing, and I'll wrap a little early today because I have one of the things. Let me give my sister Ree a little shout to. Hey, Ree, hope she's feeling better, inshallah. May Allah give you shifa. But my point is, brothers and sisters, we have to begin to assess the damage that cowards do. We're in a election season that I've never seen before. Just abject, committing to cheating, dishonesty. I'm talking about open violations of trust. I'm talking about usury. I'm talking about intimidation. And it's becoming more and more normal. And my point is, I was watching something on Facebook yesterday. I think Satana might have sent it to me, but it was on Facebook. And it was how white people who are pretty much Trump supporters, rednecks, racists, whatever, were treating other white people. Let me say that again. I'm looking at the barometer of how white people are treating white people. And it is absolutely terrifying. Black people, I'm going to tell y'all something. Yeah, we deal with racism, but it's a whole nother level of existence between some of these white people I'm seeing on TV. And this whole thing in Kenosha, I was telling my consultant producer, I said, when they said 2 were dead, I said, I bet you they're white folks. I said that both of them are going to be white people, and they were white people. And don't be surprised that young man that shot those white people, he meant to shoot those white people. It was an example. It was a call out, brothers and sisters, for other cowards to come out and do the same thing. I did not watch this part, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there were 2 lawyers down in St. Louis who, during a peaceful protest, ran out on their lawns and held firearms at the people that passed through. Yo, hold on a minute, people. Terrence Brown, what's up, brother? Good to see you. My mom's on the show. Mom, Terrence is on the show. That's how we are, man. Hey, T, and let your mom know I have her in my prayers, Mr. Brown too, and your sister, man. We got to get together on the call. That's right, Sister Satan. I called it about them. Yes. Talking about the people who were shot. Peace up, Pumpsy. Now, the breakdown of a coward, and I'm going to keep this really short. The breakdown of a coward is that their behaviors fit into certain scenarios. The breakdown is that the behaviors fit into certain scenarios, but the behavior doesn't change. When I say the behavior doesn't change, it means that it's a very set type of pedagogy, if you will. It's a very set type of mindset, if you will. And they play in both. It's like parasites. Like I call a virus because it requires something else. It requires a living thing, if you will. So a coward virus is the same thing. It requires a living thing. Cowards can't survive on their own. That's the way it goes. You have to have a carrier, if you will. So, it's the same thing. When you talk about oppression, it's the same thing. Oppression is comprised of three things. We've always talked about it. Arrogance, envy, and iniquity. And so the coward will do the same three things if you want to realize the characteristics. Whatever it is that's good about you, they'll discredit. Whatever it is bad about you, they highlight. And whatever is good, what they don't know about you, they'll make up. Now, whatever's good about you, discredit. Why? Because they can't have any type of interaction or information that's contradictory to what they're telling other folks. Whatever is bad about you, it is the scope that they want people to feel as though you do not deserve compassion, mercy, understanding, or due process. Listen to me. Due process, which has a lot to do with the legal system. Doesn't have as much to do with the policeman. It has to do with the legal system and legal construct that allow people to do certain things. See, it's not the law. It's the fact that in this day and time, the idea or the ability to interpret law has been taken away from a lot of people. Judges, police, things like that. But the coward, if you will, the coward aspires to make sure that those things are taken away, that you don't get due process. And in not getting that due process, you don't get a chance to speak your truth. And when you can't speak your truth, it means that you don't have a safe space or you don't have an opportunity to own your own agency. And when that happens, brothers and sisters, you have exactly what we have right now. Borderline anarchy. Now, as we wrap up, brothers and sisters, sometimes you have to do a brave thing. Sometimes, for the sake of the coward and the sake of your community, you got to call out a coward. I don't know how you do it. Email, walk over to their desk, but you got to let them know. What you're trying to do, that virus you're trying to spread, is not going to work here. Meaning that there's a different agenda. The people around me deserve justice, mercy, compassion, all these things, and you are not going to deny it. Now, I may have gone a little bit overboard about the conspiracy theory. Now, it wasn't a conspiracy theory, actually. It was a very well thought out theory about Russian interaction here in the United States. The thing was, it was for the election, but no, it was for the cabinet. I was running this morning and I heard something about, there's a real popular quote about recognizing people, and they have a term that says, give people their flowers while they're here. Give people their flowers while they're here. And I felt like it's okay, but I felt like it suited cowards. Thinking people. Don't give people their flowers while they're here. Give them vegetables. Because you can't eat flowers. But you could doggone for sure eat vegetables. And you can take those vegetables and take the seeds, put them in the ground, and you can grow more vegetables. I don't know. When's the last time you had a nice piece of salmon on a bed of roses? All right, brothers and sisters. Peace out. I'll see you next time. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. We can't do that. I got a couple more shout outs. Okay, so smack them over the head with the shoe. Oh, yeah. You got to do that, sis. You got to do it. Don't be violent, though, because they'll blame it on me. So, brothers and sisters, remember that. Feel free, and I encourage you to call out cowards. not for yourself, but for your community, for your own spiritual development, for your own emotional and social mobility. Call them out because that's the thing. They count on our courtesy while actually giving absolutely no courtesy to anyone that they deal with. So remember that. See you guys next time. Stay blessed. Shout out, Show Preacher Moss. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your Shout Out Show experience. Please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.